Hello, teacher. Good day to everyone. We are the study group 15. We have the biography of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. was a 20th century American Baptist activist and pastor who dedicated his life to the fight against segregation and racial discrimination. Always using peaceful methods, he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Born January 15, 1929 in Atlanta and passed away on April 4, 1968 in Memphis and age 39. No primary form. Fight peacefully against racial segregation and discrimination in the United States. Recited the famous speech "I Have a Dream". Childhood: Martin Luther King Jr., son of the Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King, was born in Atlanta on January 15, 1929. He was a middle of three siblings for the marriage of Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. Luther King was originally baptized as Michael King Jr., his father's name, but after a family trip to Germany, Michael King Sr. decided to change his own name and that of his to the Martin Luther King in honor of the Augustinian theologian Martin Luther. Joan academic life. At age 15, King Jr. entered Morehouse College, where he came to see religion as a powerful catalyst for social change, a college for young African Americans, from which he graduated in sociology 3 years later, and perennial studying in moving to the northeast of the country, Pennsylvania and Boston, to continue his graduate studies and specialty in theology. He graduated in this discipline at the age of 22 and obtained a doctorate degree from Boston University for 4 years later. During his time, dates and information from one of the people who was most influenced his way of saying and living came into his hands led Mahatma Gandhi.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Castro, and I will tell you about Martin Luther King's life as husband and father. While attending Boston University, King met Coretta Scott, an American writer. Coretta and Martin were married on June 18, 1953. The ceremony was held at Coretta's parents' home in Marion, Alabama, presided over by Martin's father. Less than a year later, the couple moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where 25 years old, King became the pastor of Dexter Avenue. They had 4 children: Yolanda King in 1955, Martin Luther King III in 1957, Dexter Scott King in 1961 and Bernice King in 1963. All four children follow in their parents' footsteps by becoming activists and advocates for civil rights. I will also tell you a little about Luther King's fight against racial segregation. On December 1st, 1955, when the seamstress Rosa Parks refused to pay a public bus driver who wanted to force her to give up her seat to a white person. Finally, she was imprisoned for her conduct for having violated the segregation laws of the city of Montgomery by refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger. As a result of these events, Rosa Parks, with the help of Martin Luther King, they founded the Montgomery Improvement Association, whose purpose was to defend the civil rights of the black minority. King decided to start a non-violent protest against the racial segregation that the city suffered from him. Taking advantage of the resonance he had as a pastor, he sold himself to the black population of Montgomery not to use public transportation until such recent demonstrations were completely eradicated. King co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and fostered nonviolent action for civil rights throughout the South. It was influenced by the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. The boycott, which lasted 382 days and even led to the house of Martin Luther King being attacked with five bombs on January 30 in 1956. After a year after the start of the boycott against the bases and thanks to a decision of the Supreme Court of the United States, racial segregation was declared illegal in the public transport of the city, restaurants, schools, and other places. Thank you.
My name is Saúl Alberto Monafea Rosa. Martin, Martin Luther King. Luther King continued with the non-violent protest, which have their reference in the press. Numerous reports began to show the humiliation suffered by African Americans in the southern United States. As a consequence, there was a wave of incipient sympathy within public opinion for the movement, which would eventually become the most important political issue in the United States of the 1916. Luther King organized and led marches for African American voting rights, desegregation, the right to work, and other basic human rights, and was arrested on occasion. During the 1963 March on Washington, King declared that people should be hooded not by the color of their skin, but by the strength of their character. On October 14, 1964, Martin Luther King became the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, having led a non-violent resistance with the aim of elimination racial prejudice in the United States.
An icon figured from the 1960 honest to this father as pastor both of the Invisible Baptist Church in Atlanta. Kings continued to use his oratorical skill to use an end to segregation and legal inequality. Throughout the mid-1960s, he was detained during non-violent demonstrations in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, while incarcerated after one of these arrests in 1963. King wrote his letter from Birmingham City Hall, in which he outlined the moral base for the civil rights movement. Victory for civil rights. In 1964, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in employment, public accommodation, y other aspects de la vida of life. King attempts the signing of the law. King left the son to Montgomery marches for African American, but then raised in 1965. He continued to push for a law to guarantee that blacks could not be denied the right to vote with discriminatory practices such as literacy tests and 1965. Johnson signed the Biography Right Act. King received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. The, the anniversary of the founding of the United Nations is celebrated in a global scenario convulsed by a pandemic that, that has exposed the enormous inequalities present in all corners of the world. Inequalities that prevent the exercise of the rights inherent to the people. One of the most emblematic figures in the struggle for human rights of the 20th century, Martin Luther King. This character was years old when he won the distinction and became the youngest to achieve in the whole story. The winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 got the Civil Rights Law revised, which had many problems for people of color and after they constant insurgents could be rehosted in such a ways that there was no longer any type of racial discrimination, neither at work nor at school. All human beings are born free and equal individuals have rights in endowment as they are with reason and conscience must behave fraternally with one another. Reads Article 1 there of the University Declaration of Human Rights, considered by many the Magna Carta of Humanity adopted in 1948. The Union General Assembly. Thank you.
My name is Alexander Ernesto Palacios Rauda. I have a dream. The 28th of August of 1963, the famous demonstration for civil rights was organized, known as the March of Washington Forward and the Freedom, in which it sought to improve the living conditions of the country's black population. At the protest, the largest that the American capital has experienced in a story, he gave his famous speech "I Have a Dream", in which he expressed his desire to come on Native American to live in equality. Luther King, the Nobel Peace Prize, the 14th of October of the 1964, Martin Luther King received the Nobel Peace Prize and was 35 years old. Luther King became the youngest man to receive this recognition. Mother of Luther King. After receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, Luther King continued his fight for the equality of the black race until on 4th of April of 1968, while was planning the campaign for the poll, King was assassinated in the motel by James Wright. His body, with and bullet in the throat, was taken to the hospital. The murder sparked many riots in 60 cities in the United States. The result in numerous The shift forced the intervention of the police. 5 days later, President Johnson declared a national day of the mourner in honor of Martin Luther King. Thank you.